Hi folks, welcome to TCM Talk. Hi there, I am Kirsten Cowan. I'm a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist in the San Francisco Bay Area. And together with my colleague Denise Chikuto, licensed acupuncturist and herbalist of Chikuto Acupuncture, we host TCM Talk about twice a month, every first and third Thursdays at 4 o'clock PST. And we try to bring you interesting, accessible, and useful information about traditional Chinese medicine. If you have questions, please ask them during the broadcast or email us traditionalchinesemedicinetalk@gmail.com. Everything that I'm going to talk about today in this scope can also be found on our Pinterest board, bit.ly/periscope pins. And you can find replays of all our broadcasts on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/TCMTalkVids. So now, this month we've been talking about natural pain management, resources in traditional Chinese medicine and holistic medicine for managing and relieving acute and chronic pain. And in my last scope, just a couple minutes ago, I talked about topical treatments, some of my favorite topical treatments for both acute and chronic pain. You can check that out on the replay on Periscope or on our YouTube channel. And now I wanted to talk a little bit this afternoon about using food from an acupuncturist perspective, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, traditional Asian medicine perspective. How can we use food and dietary choices as medicine when we're dealing with pain? And this is especially applicable for those with chronic pain. If you, bump your knee, certainly there are things you could do in that moment with dietary choices to, maybe help speed your healing a little bit. But really, food medicine is a deeper medicine and great for, for some of those deeper issues that you might be dealing with if you are facing chronic pain. So the first thing right off the bat with traditional Chinese medicine in general and most forms of holistic medicine is there is no one-size-fits-all solution. So if you tuned in expecting me to give you, the top 10 foods you should never eat for pain or follow this diet for perfect health and radiance, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that is just not reality. That is not the truth. As the saying goes, one person's meat is another person's poison. And holistic medicine is really about seeing you as an individual, where you are, what you need at this moment in time in your life based on, the circumstances of your life and your body and your health. So what's good for one person, what dietary restrictions or choices or emphasis that's great for one person might aggravate the symptoms for someone else. So that's one of the, what really the ground of the discussion. That being said, there's still some general principles that we can talk about a little bit, and that's what I want to share with you today. So one of the first, the most important concept is the idea that foods have energetic properties. So foods might warm the body, or they might cool the body. They might build the body up, or they might drain out components from the body. They might benefit specific areas of the body or specific metabolic or physical functions, or they might clear specific types of pathogens, things that in Western terms we might think of as foods that are antiviral or antifungal. And the general understanding of pain in Chinese medicine is that pain is related to stagnation. There's a traditional saying, if there is free flow, there is no pain. If there is no free flow, there is pain. So this gives us a broad kind of, general principle for making food choices from an energetic perspective that might help relieve pain, which is that some foods will help increase and support the flow of energy in the body, and some might reduce it. So if you've ever felt sleepy or bloated or phlegmy or slow after a meal, then you've experienced this. You've experienced food slowing you down, reducing circulation, and causing stagnation. And in traditional Chinese medicine and a number of other traditional medicine traditions, foods are also categorized by their taste. And their taste, their predominant taste, is what gives us the best indicator of what their energetic function is. So that's how we can kind of build a meal, a medicine meal for ourselves by combining foods that have the flavors that we need, which have the functions that we need to help our body. So I'm going to go over these, but I want to show you a couple of books actually, and these will be on our Pinterest board as well, because this is a whole area. If you're interested in really getting to know and understand the energetics of food from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, this is also a very well-developed area in Ayurvedic medicine. If you're interested in that tradition or are involved in that tradition. So here's a couple of my favorite books I'm just going to introduce you to, where you can look up any food and find out its traditional flavors and associations and get a sense of what it does, as well as some ideas for recipes. This is my absolute favorite one from this perspective, by Deverett Leggett. He's actually British. This book can be a little hard to find, but I think it's back in print now. It's great for Westerners, or for those who like Western food. It's kind of a lot of it. He does have some, he has recipes from all over the world, all kinds of culinary backgrounds, but definitely they're suitable for Western palates, we might say. He also really effectively explains some of the deeper concepts behind Chinese medicine, food, energetics, and using food as medicine in this way. Two other really good ones that I'll just show you, which are especially good for looking up the properties of food. So you want to know, okay, is there some food that I should just eat more of because I'm feeling so bloated right now? You can look up oh, I have a headache. What's good foods for that? I have a cold sore. What's a good food for that? And those are the Tao of Nutrition by Mao Xingni and Kathy McNeese, two teachers that I had at Yosan University. This is a great book. You can see it's pretty well thumbed, my copy. And this is another one that also has a great philosophical explanation, The Tao of Healthy Eating by Bob Flaws, one of the Gedolim, one of the great thinkers of traditional Chinese medicine in the West. So the 5 flavors of food from a TCM energetics perspective are pungent, sour, sweet, salty, and bitter. And each of these has associated functions. So if something is pungent, it serves to move and to disperse energy. And those would be things like garlic, ginger, green onion, and mint. Gives you a sense. Pungent, they're spicy. They move, they make you kind of energized. Sour flavors absorb and astringe and contract. If you think about when you put a lemon in your mouth, you go, that's exactly the energetic property of sour foods. And those are things like vinegar, yogurt, pickles, and citrus like lemons. Salty flavors soften and moisten and disperse. So those are things like seaweed, clams, or ham. And again, I think about, if you're sauteing in a pan, if you cook, when you sprinkle salt over vegetables that you might be sauteing, you'll see them instantly start to give out water, part of the chemistry of salt. But this is where we get the sense of what the function of salty foods are. And finally, bitter foods are drying, dispersing, and also cooling. And those are foods like kale, bitter melon, and coffee. So they have all those types of functions. So acute pain. So let's talk a little bit about pain and how some of these choosing foods with these different flavors might help you address some pain that you might be experiencing. Acute pain can respond to pungent flavors, which will move what's stuck and kick out foreign pathogens like cold. So this would be an example of this would be having a strong ginger tea. If you have a sore neck and throat from the onset of a cold or flu, that's going to help release the cold that's kind of stuck in your muscles and giving you that pain. Sweet can soften spasm. Did I say sweet? I actually didn't. I didn't mention the sweet flavor. I'm sorry. So sweet strengthens, soothes, and slows. So that would be things like sweet potatoes, rice, or honey, which you can imagine, sweet foods tend to be higher in calories, and they are relaxing. They're the type of flavor that we think of for kind of comfort foods. And in this way, the sweet flavor is associated with softening spasm and restoring energy. So something like pain or muscle cramping from vigorous exercise, have a sweet potato. This can relieve that kind of pain that comes from overexertion. Sour is a good flavor to avoid during pain because of that contracting action that sour foods promote in the body. That's that lemon pucker, which is not something that we want to encourage if we're experiencing pain and spasm. We want to have the body soften, relax, release, not contract more. So you're going to want to think about avoiding eating a lot of sour foods, a lot of pickles, especially if you're the type of person who does eat a lot of that type of stuff. So in terms of chronic pain, then you really start to get more into the weeds of your particular situation and really requiring a diagnosis from a practitioner to help you put together a dietary program that's going to incorporate these principles, but in a way that's suitable for you, because pain that is beyond just acute can come from so many different underlying factors. Maybe you're someone who has what we would call a very excess condition. You've got a lot going on, and you need foods that really support you with kind of detoxifying. Or maybe you're a very weak person and you really need foods that are going to build you up and restore your energy and restore you nutritionally. So those are going to be really different approaches. Definitely back to that, no one size fits all. There are a few kind of general principles that I'll share with you. Of course, this is a Periscope. I'm a person on the internet. This is not medical advice. I really recommend that you see a practitioner, a qualified practitioner, if you would really like to have dig into whether this type of approach, this dietary approach, can help you deal with ongoing pain management issues. And you can always email us, traditionalchinesemedicinetalk@gmail.com, for help finding a practitioner in your area. That being said, some foods that often have an aggravating effect on pain that I tend to recommend patients eliminate, either one at a time or using an elimination style diet, and I'll mention that in a minute, a little bit more about that in a minute, would include nightshades. That's a pretty famous category that includes potatoes, tomatoes, and peppers. Those aggravate pain, especially joint pain, for a lot of people. Sugar, dairy, citrus, wheat, and sometimes other grains. A lot of folks experience some pain reduction or relief after eliminating those foods. But again, if you have a systemic condition, an elimination type diet can be helpful. There are some self-guided ones out there that I like the Whole30 is a very well-known one with a vast internet presence. I've done that a number of times myself to good effect. I'm a fan of the Whole30. If you need a little bit more support, it's either something you can work on directly with a practitioner or a local East Bay clinic that actually guides folks all over the world through their program, which is called 21 Days to Better Health, because that includes a nutritional supplement regimen, as well as one-on-one guidance and coaching with a practitioner, really experienced practitioner. You can find links to both of those on our Pinterest board, bit.ly/Periscope pins. If you have autoimmune related pain, the Autoimmune Paleo program has gotten a lot of attention recently. I don't have a ton of hands-on experience, just some anecdotal stuff that I've observed with folks who have had pretty good results. You can see links to that as well on our Periscope board. So that's a kind of overview of how traditional Chinese medicine and a holistic practitioner like myself would approach using dietary changes, food as medicine, to help cope with both acute and chronic pain conditions. If you have any questions about this or any other topic related to Chinese medicine or holistic medicine, please email us, traditionalchinesemedicinetalk@gmail.com, and you can find links to, here we go, links to everything I talked about in our Pinterest board, bit.ly/Periscope pins, and videos of all our broadcasts, bit.ly/TCM Talk vids. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this was interesting and enlightening. We will be back in 2 weeks on August 18th at 4 p.m. PST. I'll be joined then by Denise Chicudo, my colleague, where we'll be talking more about natural pain management, including practices that are very helpful, how acupuncture and acupressure work to relieve both acute and chronic pain, and answering folks' questions about pain management, holistic medicine, and traditional Chinese medicine. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful and healthy day.